Divestor Babble. A divestor will always reveal its true feelings in one way or another. Take a listen.
I think a white woman, she's not one of those ghetto black girls, she's not loud.
My most serious relationships have been with non-black men, and a couple of times throughout my life, shocker, people have asked me, other black people have asked me, why do you not date black men? And it had never occurred to me that I was not dating black men. I was dating people I liked, people who liked me. I was staying with people who treated me well, and I was meeting people at things that I'd like to do. And the difference that I've noticed is exactly what's said in that video, is that me dating non-black men is not rooted in a hatred of black men and not in a hatred of myself. And I find it so telling that these black men who scream, oh, I'm gonna go get a white girl, I'm gonna go get a white girl because she's less trouble. Who are you mad at? Just like who you like. But if you have to scream about how much you hate black women, then maybe you have other problems.
They're like hunters searching for meat. White meat, this babes are in heat. It doesn't matter where he comes from, as long as it's white and it could be young or old. It really doesn't matter as long as he's white and available. These babes are desperate for a whitey. No black man stands a chance. Oh. If you're black, nothing for you. But if you're white, there's something for you. In the world, the white is right, but black is wrong. If you're black, nothing for you. If you're white, there's plenty for you. Desperate babes on the prowl, in search of a white man. The white man, white man, the white man, white man, in search of a whitey, a whitey, whitey, a whitey, whitey. Some of them are desperate.
Top 5 reason why I called off my wedding. The number 1 reason is what I'm going to call just willful ignorance. I have a pretty diverse friend group, and I date people from all over the world. Date is a strong word because I'm limited in my dating experience, but I will say that, I don't discriminate. I'm an equal opportunity dater. So I was pretty ashamed that, given my experience with all these different people and cultures and backgrounds, black, white, doesn't really matter, I did not recognize emotional abuse and racial gaslighting from this one person. And I was just so ashamed that I didn't take my instincts seriously. So he loved a good debate, right? And debates can be intellectually stimulating, and that's super fun, but sometimes they can also be really draining. With him, it was draining, especially when we talked about lived experiences. Not everything is up for debate, especially your lived experiences. He was so woke that he kind of whipped around to become super narrow-minded. You couldn't tell him anything. If he was caught in a contradiction, then he would roll his eyes, stomp off, tell me to shut up, or all three. And he would say, you're experiencing racism? Have you considered that you're not? You're experiencing fat phobia? Have you considered that that's not real? And all of this time I'm hearing this, and I didn't know that I was being manipulated because I'm a strong, smart person. But then I would say, well, yeah, maybe I don't really have experience in dating. And yeah, maybe I am being kind of cruel. And he took that and used it to his advantage, my insecurity with my lack of experience with dating. And when I would call things like this out, he would get really upset, just willfully saying that's not true, even if I could prove something's true. So for example, when he met my mom for the first time, I'm the daughter of Nigerian immigrants. So I'm a first generation American. We do something in Nigeria called spray. It's a way of fundraising, really. So you shower a dancer or bride, someone being honored with money as a way of fundraising. And he was sprayed my mom at this event, and afterwards would tell people, the first time I met Ansa's mom, I was throwing dollar bills at her with no context whatsoever. And when I pointed out that's not a funny joke, that's actually a serious tradition, he was like, oh, lighten up, everyone's laughing, no one cares. But I care. And I was so prideful and ashamed. So it wasn't until later in the relationship when the pandemic hit that I had a minute to sit down and take stock. And I talked to my therapist about how I was feeling, and she validated everything and said, no, you've been communicating your needs properly. He's manipulating you. No. He's willfully doing this, and he knows exactly what he's doing. I didn't owe him anything. I detached so fast and ran so fast. More in the comments and more. Let me know if you want to hear more. Reason number 4, let's say, why I called off my wedding. And shout out to my new hat. It's my new favorite hat that I wear everywhere. I called off my wedding last year, and there are a number of reasons, but one of the top 5 reasons was what I have started calling ambition faking. So my ex would talk a lot about what he liked to do and what his core values were and things that he loved to do, like hiking, for example. But in the 3 years we were together, he never once initiated hiking. And I had to think to myself, well, if this is one of your top 5 or most important pastimes, but I've literally never seen you do it, is that a true statement? And I started questioning a lot of the things that I knew about him. So using hiking as an example, he would talk constantly about
how he loved hiking. He has these really expensive hiking boots that he just hasn't had a chance to use, and he just loves hiking, and his friends would go on hikes, but he never went hiking. And come to find out, there were maybe 1 or 2 times where he went on really great hikes in his lifetime. It was kind of bizarre. And he would say to me, I just wish that you liked hiking more. You know, I need a partner who can hike with me. And I heard this as kind of coded fat phobia. Here's why. I lift, so I work out 3 days a week at minimum. I power lift. I'm an athletic person. I grew up playing sports, soccer, basketball, softball for my high school team, and I, as an adult, played roller derby. And I boxed. So he really loved these things about me, but he was not athletic at all. Scroll through my videos and you'll see a moment where he had to leave the room because his dad and I were talking about sports. So he's not athletic, doesn't exercise in any way. It was like very weak, can't lift things, which is fine. But he would constantly see me walk up some stairs, and I'd be like, "Whoa, those stairs! You know, maybe that was tough." I'd walk up a bunch of flights of stairs, and he'd say, "See, this is what I'm talking about, Ansa. You know, I just want someone who can hike with me. You know, you just don't seem like someone who could hike with me." And I eventually called him out and said, "This is really confusing to me because the one hike we've ever been on together, I initiated. I took you on one of my favorite trails." And he never initiated another hike ever. And so, yeah, eventually being with someone in the beginning is exciting, and you get to know them and you say, wow, they say they really like this, that, and the other. But watch out, because if after a few years you don't see them doing this thing that they keep saying is their favorite thing to do, it put into question a lot of things he was saying. And I realized I actually don't know this person, and I don't know if he knows himself. There was a lot of projecting, and there was a lot of confusion as to who I'm really with, because I know myself, and he was gaslighting me into questioning who I was. I was exploring my sexuality with my last partner, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking that I might want to go to play parties or something like that, but they're all femme, and so I'd feel safer there. And he was like, yeah, do your thing. That's so great. Have fun. So when I came back and was like, oh, I've met some really great people, and I'd love to, you know, go hang out with this woman and that woman, and we're becoming really good friends, he started to tell me how unfair it was that he couldn't also go out with women. And I said, well, if you want to explore your sexuality and go date men, I fully support you. Go date men. And he couldn't get it through his thick skull that there is a difference between exploring your sexuality and just wanting to cheat. So, yeah, we broke up.
This big back, overweight, LGBTQ divestor who only dates white men and women, yet doesn't think she hates herself is typical. You can't make this up. Divestor Babble.
When he